Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Between Two Firms. I'm Tom Furr and today I'm joined by Michael Silvain, who works at the global law firm Kennedy's, and today we're going to talk about rebranding yourself. Hello mate, welcome to the show. So tell me a little bit about your story, because you began as a paralegal.
Yes, I was a paralegal for about 15 odd years. I even recall my first initial conversation with the head of our insurance division, coming to him and saying, I've come to a point in my career where I'm financially, professionally in no man's land. However, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
And I basically pitched the whole world of Ediscovery. I was very familiar with the type of technology as a paralegal, and looking at the commercials as to what we were spending as a firm, I decided this may be a good opportunity. I've literally ripped up my contract and started something completely new.
To go to your boss and say, essentially, I'm drifting. And by the way, I have an idea that one adds value, but two also gives me a sense of purpose. That's an incredibly vulnerable thing to go to your boss about. What was that experience like?
I already did quite a lot of the groundwork. I just showed him what the company's spend was over the last 3 years. Coming from my experience of working within that as a user perspective, I felt that I had a very good idea as to what lawyers wanted.
So it's essentially two things. It was having the data to back up your idea.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But it also sounds like being an expert in it as well was really important.
I am not a computer science wizard, but I knew what I liked. And I knew from working with countless lawyers what they wanted. I'm a very impatient person. And at that time, 7-8 years ago, communication dialogue with vendors having to wait 3 to 4 days for things to get done, given the amount of money we were spending, I just didn't think that was a good service.
So maybe we just go back into this idea of rebranding yourself. Because I think if you were to have a tagline, it would be about rebranding yourself.
It will be about rebranding. Coming from a past of, paralegal, senior paralegal role, and especially within the same organization, you kind of, that tag always stays with you. A bit of a challenge of trying to change people's mindset and their realization as to, Michael, what exactly are you bringing to the table here? Coming from a legal background into a tech space, lawyers will sit there, a lot of them head nodding, like what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm not even listening.
But not actually listening or understanding what they've been told.
Yeah.
And I'm that kind of breach into language that the lawyers can understand.
This idea of going from the least important person in the room to the most important person in the room. Giving me anxiety just saying that.
I know.
So it must have been a real step out of your comfort zone. How did you navigate that?
Being that paralegal in countless meetings of being the least important person, then suddenly shifting to being in a room where you are effectively leading that meeting. People are looking at you for answers, having the confidence to back yourself, because it's really important. And then I think it was the fear of failure that kind of drove me more to kind of say, you know what, I can do this.
So you've talked a lot about your journey up until this point, the risks you've taken, the opportunities you said no to, the things that you've learned. What's the future look like? Are you still facing your fears? Are you still pushing yourself out of your comfort zone? Where are you going to be in 5 years? And is that something you actively still try to define?
I think it's important to never sit still. So I'm always looking at the bigger picture. I think it's important to build a team. These guys will have big ideas, get those ideas and enhance it.
And today you've talked a lot about really emotion. You've talked about fear, you've talked about fulfillment, you've talked about being out of your comfort zone, taking risks, you've talked about pride, things that I think in the field of law, we don't talk about enough. And what has been the importance of understanding and prioritizing emotion in kind of your life?
People say I sometimes strive for perfection. And I don't think I'll ever find it. And I think I was looking for that in workspaces, always looking for perfection. And I realized you can't find it, but you have to take bits and pieces from different places to create what your version of perfection is. For me, it's an emotional journey. I've been in this particular industry, I think, 8-9 years, just solely working with this stuff. And it's, I enjoy it, I love it. For me, I can talk about it all day.
We've only got these lights for 2 more hours.
Yeah, I know. So I think you may need to get an extension.
So talk to me about mentoring, because
Yes.
that's something because we've spoken about this before. This
Yeah.
is something that you're really passionate about.
So, I mean, many years ago, I was undertaking a lot of mentoring for, this was year 10 students. And when I say, seeing someone like me, would you expect me to be working in an organization like this, being in a job like this? Can you imagine yourself in this office? And a lot of them was like, no. And I was like, well, why is that? I kind of said, it's really important to start telling that story to people.
You must have seen a real emotional shift in them as well. What sort of impact did you kind of see that you were able to have?
At the beginning, it was literally a lot of me doing talking, and they were just listening, feeling very shy. I wanted them to present to me any subject that they felt comfortable in doing. And, they put together some great stuff, and I was really proud that they could sit there and present to me something that they felt passionate about.
Have you seen a change in the workforce becoming more diverse since you began your career to now? And how much further do we have to go?
There has been a change. I still think we have a long way to go, because we still need to look at the diversity at top level. The diversity at the point of people making the decisions. When that landscape starts to change, I think we're starting to make progress. Having the people who think the same, it's not necessarily good for business. You want to be challenged every day. That's what I've brought to my table. I look at things very differently to about 95% of the people I work with, because I've come from a different background. Didn't go to university, didn't have a law degree. People need to start making their own ladders and climbing their own stairs, because I think it's really important.
Make your own ladders. That sounds like another tagline.
Got them all.
Michael, thank you so much for joining me today on Between Two Firms. Really enjoyed having you, and I love the kind of real emotive subjects that you dive into. It's been a pleasure having you on. Do we need an ending?
Yes.
How should we end it? Or maybe we just end it with this.
Just like whatever.
Let's just end it like this.